He was the greatest Jedi of his generation. He was the darkest Sith Lord the galaxy had ever seen. And in the end, the Jedi Council gave him a choice they thought was mercy. They wiped his mind. They gave him a blank slate, a second chance. But what if they never did? What if Revan woke on that operating table, not as a confused soldier, but as the Dark Lord who had conquered the galaxy? Welcome to Nakvara Studio. This is the story that never happened. In the canonical timeline, Revan and Malak discovered the true Sith Empire in the unknown regions. The Emperor, Vitiate, dominated their minds, but Revan's will was too strong. He broke free, partially. He returned to the Republic with a warning the Jedi refused to hear. When diplomacy failed, he chose war. The Mandalorian Wars were not conquest. They were preparation. A brutal, necessary evil to forge an army capable of facing the Sith Empire. But the Jedi Council saw only the darkness. They declared Revan and his followers exiles. They abandoned them. When Revan finally defeated the Mandalorians at Malachor Fieth, the Council was waiting. Bastila Shan led the strike team that boarded Revan's flagship. Malak, in his moment of betrayal, ordered the ship's guns to fire on his master's bridge. Revan was left dying. The Jedi found him broken, half alive, and they made a decision that would echo through galactic history. They wiped his mind. They erased Darth Revan. They buried the Conqueror. And in his place, they built a soldier, a blank slate loyal to the Republic. But what if the mind wipe failed? What if Revan woke on the operating table with every memory intact? Imagine it. Revan opens his eyes. He recognizes the medbay ceiling. He recognizes the Jedi healers hovering over him. He remembers Bastila's face from before the battle. And he remembers everything. He remembers the Starforge. He remembers Malak's betrayal. He remembers Vitiate's voice in his mind, offering power beyond imagination. And most of all, he remembers the Jedi Council's cowardice. In this timeline, Revan does not become a Republic soldier. He does not fall in love with Bastila Shan. He does not redeem himself. He escapes. The first hours would be chaos. Revan, still recovering from his wounds, would have to fight his way out of a Republic medical station. But this is Revan, the greatest tactician in galactic history. Even weakened, even unarmed, he is more dangerous than any dozen Jedi Knights. He would take Bastila Shan hostage, not out of cruelty, but strategy. Her battle meditation makes her the Republic's most valuable weapon. With Bastila as leverage, Revan would commandeer a ship, the Ebon Hawk perhaps, and vanish into the Outer Rim before the Jedi Council even knew he was gone. Revan would begin by uniting the fragments of his old empire. The Sith who survived the Jedi Civil War are scattered, leaderless, hiding in the Outer Rim. But they remember Revan's name. They remember the power he wielded, and they would flock to his banner. Within months, Revan would rebuild a Shadow Fleet. Not the massive armada he commanded during the Jedi Civil War. That was destroyed, but a leaner, deadlier force. Ships hidden in nebulae, Tatooine. Bases built on forgotten moons. An army that exists only in whispers. His strategy would not be open war. Not yet. Revan learned from the Mandalorian Wars that brute force is wasteful. He would wage a war of shadows. Meanwhile, Revan would turn his attention to his greatest threat, Vitiate. In the canonical timeline, Revan spent 3 centuries in stasis, held captive by the Emperor, his mind slowly being drained. But in this timeline, Revan is free. He is active, and he knows that Vitiate will come for him. The Emperor cannot allow a rival Sith Lord with knowledge of his empire to exist. Vitiate would dispatch assassins, agents, entire fleets, if necessary. But Revan is ready. He would use Vitiate's own tactics against him. Deception. Patience. the slow erosion of power from within. Years would pass. The Republic would grow desperate. Without Revan's redemption, without the exile's journey, the Jedi Order lacks the heroes it needs. The Council's conservative doctrine would strangle their ability to adapt. Bastila Shan, still Revan's captive, would become his most unlikely ally, not through the Force bond that formed in the canonical timeline, but through something more powerful, understanding. Revan would show her the truth, the Jedi Council's failures, the coming Sith threat, the cost of their cowardice, and Bastila would begin to doubt. By the time Vitiate launches his full-scale invasion, the Republic would be crippled, not by Revan's fleets, but by Revan's strategy. Years of sabotage, years of political manipulation, years of making the Republic fight itself. And when the Sith Empire finally strikes, Revan would be waiting, not to save the Republic, but to pick up the pieces. The war would be apocalyptic. Sith warships would burn Coruscant. Jedi temples would fall. The Republic would collapse within months. But Revan would not celebrate, because Revan understands something that Vitiate does not. Conquest is easy. Rule is hard. As the galaxy burns, Revan would make his final move. He would lead a strike force to Dromund Kaas, the heart of the Sith Empire, not to conquer it, to destroy it. The duel with Vitiate would be unlike anything in galactic history. Two Sith Lords, both immortal in their own way, both wielding power that could shatter worlds. Revan would win, not because he is stronger, but because he is smarter. He would exploit Vitiate's weakness. The Emperor's power is vast, but it is anchored to his physical form. Destroy the body, and the essence scatters. Revan would strike the killing blow. And as Vitiate dies, screaming across the Force, Revan would absorb his power, not to become the new Emperor, but to become something else. The galaxy would be his. The Republic ashes. The Sith Empire broken. And Revan, standing alone on the throne of Dromund Kaas, would look out at the stars and ask himself, was it worth it? In the canonical timeline, Revan found redemption. He found love. He found peace. But in this timeline, he found only power. Thank you for watching. This was Noctvara Studio.